Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Show Me the Money E-commerce Holiday Fraud. I am Rosemary Cipriano. I am our senior content writer here at Human, and I'm so excited to be joined by Liel. She is an incredible resource here for all of us who need to dive into data and dive into what is going on in the underbelly of the internet. So, Liel, can you please tell us who you are, your title, and of course, in natural human fashion, who your favorite robot is?
Of course, thank you, Rosemary. So I'm Liel. I'm leading the research for the enterprise products here in human security. Um, my favorite robot is Bimax from Superhero 6 because it's a healthcare robot and I love it very much. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. I didn't realize that. I have to watch that movie. That's a movie, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I need to watch that then. I'll add that to the list. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you everyone for joining us here. This is all about the holidays, even though it's pretty warm outside. It may still be summer, but we have to talk about it. We've been monitoring holiday bot traffic for years here at Human. We recently put out a holiday bad bot report looking at trends we've seen in past years and what e-commerce retailers can do to prepare themselves. And it's funny because here in America, at least, people get mad every year when you talk about like pumpkin spice a little too early. And here we are talking even further past that to the holidays. So the whole fraudster community is thinking beyond that, and so do we. So Liel, my first question to you, we're going to start super basic here. The whole point of these webinars is that we want to really educate. So why are the holidays such an attractive target for fraudsters in the first place?
Besides the holiday spirit in general, this is the most profitable time of the year for most e-commerce websites. And the websites tend to focus more on customer experience than on the security measure. It's more important to make sure that we will be able to purchase with the best discount than making sure that a bot is not coming through. And as always, fraudsters follow this normal seasonal human behavior because it's allowing them to conceal themselves and conceal their activities during these hype times, along with the fact that security is just not a big of a priority during this time for our e-commerces. So since it's also, as we said, the most profitable time for e-commerce, this is the time where people make the biggest spend, and it also makes it most profitable for attackers themselves. They take advantage of this time. They take advantage of the fact that there's quite a lot of people that don't usually use e-commerce websites, and because of the discounts and the opportunities this holiday season creates, they open discounts, and it's just broadened the amount of targets that fraudster can have and the amount of profit.
Yeah, it's that classic saying that we say it's fraudsters are following the money as well. If we're seeing profitable times of year, so are fraudsters. One thing that became clear in our research was that fraudsters start preparing for the holidays sooner than any of us would think, like right now, literally right now. In our report, we note that in the months leading up to Cyber Monday, online retailers saw a 199% increase in bad bot traffic. That is a staggering number. So why do fraudsters start preparing so early? Like, what exactly are they doing right now?
That's a very, very important question because it's a surprise for the most part. So fraudster using automated credential stuffing and brute force attack in order to gain access to accounts on e-commerce platforms. And they also validate credential to validate accounts, as we said, and validate stolen credit card information. On top of the discount period starting earlier and earlier every year, it's not starting now over the summer, the attackers also have a market of their own. So what is going on is that there have buyers and consumers that take these hacked accounts and validated credit card and uses that during the holiday season. It makes the demand higher while leading up to the holiday season for the attackers. So hackers are preparing by validating their stolen credit cards prior to the sales. Attackers allow their consumers or themselves to use those validated credit cards during the discount time.
That is, it's so interesting you say that because I've noticed in the past like couple of months those emails coming through from different sites being like, "Hey, it looks like someone's trying to get into your account. Is that you?" And I'm like, "No, it's not. I live in America. I live in New York, so it's not me over there in whatever other country." So that it really makes sense. And when you bring it back down to like a personal level, like we've all probably have gotten those emails and have been like, oh, that's just a random time of year, not even thinking that they're trying to validate all of this stuff for the big bang of the holiday season.
Mhm.
So let's dive into the actual fraud models these fraudsters are using during the holiday season, what is supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year. In our report, we noted that account takeover, carding, and scraping are the top 3 fraud models employed by cyber criminals over the holiday season. For all 3, we saw a spike in late summer, another jump in late fall, and then above average activity for just the rest of the season. It almost sounds like fraudsters have like a playbook going on, like they have their steps. So why are these the most popular fraud models for the fraudsters?
So just like you said, it is something like a playbook, which is partially why these are the main fraud models. It also goes back to profitability. So as hackers learn from one another, they have like their own community and they use each other's resources in order to launch these kinds of attack. And they copy each other and they will pick the threat model that are both profitable but have enough resources available for them in order to launch such attacks. So the more attackers that there are more attackers in those community creating scraping attacks or ATO tools or scapping tools, the more hackers and fraudsters that will use those in a similar sense, in a similar playbook, like you said. However, it's important to know that these models also hold the greatest profit and damage potential. So it just works hand in hand, kind of.
Yeah. So I want to zero in on carding for a moment. In early November 2022, the percentage of malicious checkout attempts out of total checkout attempts rose 350%. The percentage of carding attacks out of total checkouts increased 900% in the days following Cyber Monday. Insane. So
Mhm.
this makes carding the top threat to e-commerce retailers during the holiday season. Why is carding specifically so attractive for fraudsters?
So it's because it's the most profitable fight. It has a direct link to money. It's like the easiest way to get money that you can think of. It's either by selling the credit card that you validated that can be used then by someone else during the discount time, or by making purchases with that credit card. So it's like having money in your hands. Um, E-commerce website is negatively affected by it because it breach PCI DSS. And if you breach PCI DSS compliance, they cannot process credit card purchases, and it can happen during the most profitable time of the year for them as well. So it also creates a big damage for those platforms.
Wow, yeah, it's kind of like a trickle effect. Wow. So we call this webinar Show Me the Money because we want to get to the root of how the fraudsters actually make the money. That can like sometimes get lost when we're talking about all of this technology and all the different things that they are able to do, but why and how? So how exactly do fraudsters make money from those carding attacks?
So by using a brute force attack on the checkout surface or by purchasing small purchases, they validate the credit card number and make sure that it is a valid one, not a discontinued one, and that it can be used during this discount period. Then they are doing one of two things. They either sell it in black markets, and a validated credit card can be worth up to $45 per credit card, which is a lot of money that those hackers can make. Or they just use that in order to buy things that they then either sell or use, depends on their needs. So as we said before, it's like having actual money in your hand once you have the validated credit card. This is why we also see such a big surge in this attack, because this is the most profitable threat that they have.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think about like when someone actually like steals your physical wallet and they go make like a very small innocuous purchase at like Starbucks or something before taking it elsewhere. That's kind of what they're doing. It's like they're validating it, and then they're gonna, oh, it actually works. Who wants it? And if to have hundreds of credit cards like that, I can only imagine the amount of money that they're actually getting from having other people's card information. It's awful. And as we talked about before, account takeover was another big top threat for online retailers. For e-commerce companies specifically, account takeovers accounted for 48.2% of all login attempts throughout 2022. That's nearly half. How do fraudsters make money from account takeovers?
So that's it's not as direct as it might be from credit card, but it's still money again. So accounts have quite a lot of money associated with them, especially on an e-commerce platform. So it can either be a connected credit card that you can use even without having the actual number and the credit card on your own, or a gift card balance that someone has in his account. This is worth money on that e-commerce platform. Even loyalty program points can be something that can be translated into money that can be used in order to buy valuable items, moreover when it's in a discount period. Accounts, as we said, similarly to credit cards, is something that is very valuable in black markets. So even if the attacker is not using the account that he was hacked by himself, he then sell it over the black market to someone else to use it, to do the fraud over it, to use the money connected to it, to use the gift card balance connected to it, but also for something that people tend to look over, where you get discounts for validated accounts, for example, special discounts, VIP discounts. This is something that you can only get access to if you have an account that was validated and used by someone, by a regular person. So that's one part of it. And another part of it, that's most of the time high demand items, hyped items will not be sold to everyone over the internet. It will be sold to a selected accounts that were verified as true. So if you take over this kind of account, you get access to these high demand items that can then be worth much more if you resell them.
Oh yeah, we see a lot of that. It reminds me a lot of the PS5 debacles of years past.
The Xbox X,
Yeah, all of that. Now, finally, scraping attacks grew 112% in the second half of 2022 as compared to the first half. After a while, all these numbers are so big, it's like I can't even like wrap my head around them. How do fraudsters make money from scraping attacks? That doesn't feel as direct as carding too.
Yeah, you're right. It's not linear, and people might not address this one as a threat because of it, but it is harmful and also have money at the end of the attack. So fraudsters scraping websites and getting the information about all the hottest deals that are being offered right now by a specific e-commerce platform. Then that data can be used by a competitor to make sure that they offer a better discount for their consumers, so they can win the deals over someone else's suggestion. If that is combined with account takeover, like we mentioned before, you can even get access to the VIP deals, the hottest deal that someone can offer, and make sure that your offer is more competitive. This data, which is sold by the scraper, worth a lot of money. They just scrape it, they collect it, and then they sell it either to a competitor or someone else that has use in this data, and data worth money.
Oh yeah, data's worth all the money, as we're learning. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's why you see sometimes when you're searching for like a specific item that on one platform it'll be $20, but the next platform will be like 18. Just to get one over on each other.
Yeah. There are some researchers that show this quick change in two competing platforms, and it can only be done by automation and scraping attacks.
Well, at Human, we try to stop all this. We use a modern defense strategy to take down these bad actors. So there's 3 pillars to this strategy that we like to talk about: visibility, network effect, and takedowns. Our visibility allows us to see this large swath of the internet which allows us to get these kinds of crazy numbers, which creates a network effect where a detection event for one of our customers becomes a protection event for all of our customers. And lastly, every day, our Satori Threat Intelligence and Research team, Liel, you are a part of that, disrupts and takes down fraud operations, small and large, to wipe away these threats. How does humans, technology, and products protect e-commerce retailers during the holiday season?
So on top of everything you mentioned, we focus on disrupting the economics of cybercrime. We were very focused in this webinar in talking about where the money is for the attackers. So we take this concept and we say, let's make it not profitable for the attacker to launch its attack. It means this unique approach that we not only focus on blocking, because blocking is something that you can bypass or we just make it harder and harder. But if we are not focusing, but also the fact that we're focusing on the economic part of it, we just make it not worth for them to spend the money and the effort that requires in order to bypass and launch this attack. By using technology like proof of work and captcha loop resource exhaustion and the takedowns that you mentioned, we make the attack almost non-profitable. Add to that the detection in depth concept with products that combines both bot defender, account defender, and credential intelligence. We really cover every corner the attackers can come from.
Right. I always found that so interesting how we are able to see, like, right before they log in, if they actually get through, and then all of the data after that. That is like, it's the full like lifetime of what a fraudster could be doing. We're kind of at every single step, which is pretty neat. So before we open it up to questions, I want to make sure that online retailers can just walk away with something right now that they can tangibly do to protect themselves from attacks the holiday season. What advice would you have for online retailers, Liel?
First of all, although it's the most profitable time of the year and the focus is on customer experience, don't neglect your security measures and protections. Keep a tight partnership between your e-commerce and security teams. Fraudster will come and you should be prepared. Tune your website by understanding customer purchases flow, where discounts will be, and identify gaps that might be exploited by bots and fraudsters. Be wary of your third-party services and how they can affect your website, both on performance level and from the security aspect. And lastly, be ready to be flexible as the holiday goes by, because the fraudster will adapt and so should you.
Amazing. Couldn't have said it better myself, and I know I definitely couldn't have. Thank you so much, Liel. So now we can open it up to questions. I believe we already have some that came through. So the first one we have is, when should online retailers deploy bot protection for the holiday season? Is it too late?
The earliest the better, but it's never too late. We have an emergency setup, meaning if you're coming in and you say, I need an expedited move to blocking, I have an ongoing attack, I have a situation I need handled, we have the solution for you and we can help you.
That's amazing. It's never too late to stop fraudsters this season. Are there any specific e-commerce segments that should be on the lookout for certain types of attacks?
That's a good question, although unfortunately, all of them are a target for the fraudsters. We did see some interesting stats. We see a big hype in 2021 for health industry, for example, because as we said, fraudsters follow the money, they follow the human seasonality. So while we were all under the COVID-19 still impact, health was a big thing for humans, so it was for fraudsters as well. Last year, for example, once the world started to reopen, we see a surge in hospitality and travel. So although everyone are a big focus for the fraudster, it always depends on where the human are, basically.
It's just so crazy how they track that too, just like us. Scalping bots are a major issue for my business. What are you seeing there?
So we mentioned that briefly, I think, but high demand, high products continue to be vulnerable to scalpers. These attackers are amongst the most sophisticated and targeted that we have ever encountered. They have to succeed. They need to succeed. They make a lot of money out of this. What we did see that was kind of interesting and worth mentioning is that we see in the last couple of years a small change in their behavior. So instead of only targeting hyped product during a hype sale, something that is intended to be low in supply, we see products that not necessarily intend to be low supply, but they are high demand. And because there is a problem around that product, for example, like there was with the baby formula, we've once we see human goes and creating such a big demand because there is low supply, we see the fraudster taking advantage of that, buying the supply themselves and then selling it in a higher price. So instead of only focusing on a hype sale, on a high demand, very limited edition items, they now focus on basically everything.
Wow. Yeah, it's again, it's like following
Hmm.
humans where they go, because
Yeah.
we are where the money goes. We are what we spend. Okay, we have time for one more question. Okay, this is a really interesting one and something I'm also very curious about. What do you think of everyday people using scalping bots to get high demand products just to compete?
Yeah, I can understand why it's an interesting question. At the end of the day, if you are a collector or sneakerhead, depends on how you call yourself, you're living in a highly competitive environment. So I guess they will use whatever tool they can in order to reach their goals, whether it's a sneakers, limited edition sneakers, or baseball cards. But in addition to it breaks the concept of a fair game, it also contributes and fund bad actors that you use their scalping bots, but they also makes account takeover bots that they can bite you back once they will hack your own account in a different platform, for example. So at the end of the day, just contributing to this bad actors is just doing bad to the entire economic and all users. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of perpetuating the cycle of, okay, well, if they're getting ahead, then I might as well too, even though I just want one pair of sneakers or this one particular baseball card or collectible item. Yeah, it's a horrible cycle. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have. But thank you for joining us, Liel, and for imparting your knowledge. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here. I hope you learned something today. I certainly did. I hope everyone learned something about how you can protect your business and serve bad bots cold this holiday season. If we didn't get to your question, we'll follow up with you directly. So be sure to check out our resources. They're linked below, including the holiday report that we talked about at length today. So please check that out. Let us know if you have any questions. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.